What is going on, everyone? This is Ty the Solar Guy with your Bridge the Gap podcast here. I'm super excited about our guest today and this roofing company that we're working with, TraVek Roofing in the house, also TraVek Remodeling. These guys have been an icon here in the Valley for many years. I remember even as a kid seeing their trucks rolling around all over the place. Big red trucks, bright yellow lettering. They are dominating in the remodeling space and the roofing industry. And so I'm so excited to dive deep today with Bjorn here at TraVek and talk about what are they doing, what's working for them. We're going to talk about bridging the gap between the solar and roofing industry and get into some of the nitty gritty of what's making them successful and where are we going in the future with this power partner relationship that we have. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Bjorn.
Yeah, you bet. I'm excited to be here. And, when we talked about this and the opportunity to come and share a little bit of knowledge and some experience and just kind of tell the world about some of the things we're doing to bridge that gap, I was super excited to be a part of it. So
yeah, no, it's great. It's great. And so to get right into it, I would love to hear some of the history of TraVek Roofing and Remodeling. How long have you guys been around? And tell us about where you've been and kind of where you're going. We'll get into that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. I have a tendency to be a little bit long-winded if you let me talk. So
it's okay. Yeah.
Feel free to cut me off if you need to. But
no worries.
TraVek, we've been around in the Valley here for 25 years as TraVek. Now before that, there was a little bit of a pedigree. TraVek actually started doing some landscaping with ponds.
Wow.
And before 25 years, and then we moved into what we're doing now. And so a really rich pedigree of a family-owned business, family-started business that evolved into what you see today, which is an industry leader here in the Phoenix area. And so we focus predominantly on luxury remodels, kitchens, baths, and whole home remodels, anything within the existing footprint. And we've been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Part of what we do with that is we offer some community seminars where we bring the community in to be able to get a little bit of knowledge on what to expect walking into that journey, because we want to be able to give back. We've been doing it for long enough to where we want to share some of that knowledge. We understand that it can be frustrating and there can be some difficulties, and so we want to help people avoid that where we can.
Yeah.
About 5 years ago, we decided we were going to take a swipe at the roofing side of things.
Awesome.
So we landed on a few roofing companies that we acquired and got into that side of the business. Something that's really important for us, we have a saying here at TraVek that says we provide our customers the ultimate TraVek experience.
Okay.
For us, that's important.
What's that mean?
Well, realistically, that's from start to finish. The experience that a customer has with some of the marketing material that we put out there, to when they call in and they talk to Susan at the front desk, our lead intake, all the way through first appointment and how they're treated from first appointment all the way through to construction is really important to us. We feel like it's different than anything else that they experience. So when we decided to get into the roofing industry, I'll be honest, we were a little bit nervous to throw the TraVek name onto roofing. You hear horror stories about how it's the Wild West, and you got roofing companies popping up here and there, and there's hundreds of them. Not everybody's doing it the right way. So before we put our TraVek name onto it, we really wanted to dial in and make sure that our processes were dialed in, that our leaders were in place, that our production staff was in place, so that if we were going to say you're going to get a TraVek roof and it's not just any other roof, that actually meant that you were getting that ultimate TraVek experience.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I can tell the quality of your team here and your facility and what you're saying, this TraVek experience, it's got to have something to do with this place. Also feels like it's a family to me, like you're saying. And it's not just it was a family 25 years ago. You've successfully maintained that family feel here in this place all the way as your team has grown and you've expanded. And it has to do something with just your core values. You're taking care of your team. And you got to be treating the people that work here just like you're treating your customers, like you say, right? In order to make sure that culture is happening.
Yeah, you bet. We, when we talk about what we do at TraVek, in our opinion, there's our external customers, which we want to make sure they have the ultimate TraVek experience, right? But we always talk about, even in our team meetings and our morning huddles, that we have a different type of customer as well, and that's our employees. So we have internal customers and we have external customers, and we want to treat each of them with the same care and the same level of compassion and energy that we give to our external customers, we bring that in-house as well.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm from the tech sector. I spent the last 15 or 20 years in the tech industry.
Okay.
And you would look at core values and these culture boards and the mission statements, and a lot of times it was just words on a website. When I landed here at TraVek, just like you felt walking into the building, like it's something different. And that family feel, TraVek has done such an awesome job of taking it from a family-founded, family-run business, growing into a really large entity, and still providing that same importance behind the culture and the messaging and the core values. It's something really special.
Yeah, and it's so important. I could really tell when I had an opportunity to meet with your sales team earlier this week, and every single individual at that table was very high caliber. They were asking questions that were top notch, and all of them. They weren't missing anything. Nothing was getting by them. And I could tell that they were happy here, they were taken care of, and that trickles. Like, if you want to provide this experience to your customers, they have to have that energy, that knowledge, that wherewithal to ask the right questions and provide the right information. And so it goes hand in hand, your in-house and your out-of-house customers, right?
Oh yeah, you bet. You have to have that.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome. So about 5 years ago, you decide you want to get into the roofing industry. How has it been going, ramping up? Stepping into the roofing world, carrying over the TraVek experience into the roofing world. Is it the Wild West like you thought?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, nothing is ever perfect, right?
Yeah.
So I think with the best intentions, you go into an endeavor like that and you create a whole new vertical in your company.
Yeah.
And you think, you know what, we're going to take what we've done and it works well and we have our process and we're going to just implement this in. Nothing's perfect.
Yeah, there's still a learning curve that's happening.
There's still a learning curve, right? It's still a different industry.
Yes.
And as you know, in your experience, like roofing is a different animal. It's a different industry. And so we went through a phase there where we did have some bumps and bruises along the way until we got figured out.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, it is still kind of the Wild West. You've got your two Chucks in a truck that are running around out there low bidding every job that they ever hit. And so, our sales team, as professional as they are, there's some discouragement there, right? Knowing that we're a large company.
Yeah.
We're larger than two guys running around in a truck throwing shingles on a roof.
So we can't match the price of those guys. So what do we do instead?
Yep. Yeah, so we had to get creative and
Yeah.
we had to think about, well, what are the differentiators that TraVek brings to the table? And one of the things that we landed on is this phrase that it's not just any roof, it's a TraVek roof.
Yeah.
And for us, when we think about that entire experience of, a better warranty, better quality products, better laborers, we've got our production manager going out to every job when they finish, and they make sure that the job is perfect. They stamp a medallion in the softwood and they say, hey, this is a TraVek roof.
Wow, that's awesome.
And for us, that may feel a little gimmicky, but at the end of the day, we're testifying to the customer, hey, this is a TraVek roof. It's not just any other roof.
Yeah.
It's a TraVek roof, and that means something from that entire experience. And so, are we more expensive than two guys running around in a truck that aren't going to be here in 6 months? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's something that comes along with that.
Yeah, and it's of high value because these two truck and a chucks out here, there's a lot of roofers out there competing against that sector of the roofing industry who are in the same boat as you are. And they're all trying to figure out, how do I get this customer to understand the value we're bringing to the table? And I see you guys positioning yourselves to sell your value very well, just based off your facility here. When I walked in today, there was a lovely couple here in your shop, in your warehouse, in your office. I don't even know what to call it. It's like
That's
a
our showroom out there.
Showroom,
Yeah.
thank you. And they're flipping through a binder this thick, going over the options, being educated, and all their questions being answered. And really just taking the time to make sure that the customer's educated on every single option so they can make the decision best for them. They're not getting that with two chucks in a truck, right?
No, they're not. And
Yeah.
and again, that goes back to that ultimate TraVek experience.
Yeah.
Like when we can bring somebody into our showroom and we have a professional in place that can walk them through what those options are, the pluses, the minuses, what they're going to get for it. It's okay to pay a little bit extra to have that peace of mind and know, okay, there's quality materials, the work's going to be done right, and I've got somebody that can walk me through this process and help me understand something that I know nothing about.
Yeah, they're going to break it down so that you can understand. They're going to communicate at a high level. You know, someone's always going to be available. Like you said, you have a team in place here, which is really nice, because you can have that quality control guy. You can have Susan picking up the phone at any time that they need something. You know, you have your crews, you've got your sales reps, and it's just the full package. And all those people have to be paid, and that's how our value. Our overhead starts going up a little bit, and so that's where cost gets a little bit higher. But people just need to realize out there what they're getting when they choose TraVek is the TraVek team.
Yep.
It's not the guy that just showed up to bid it. There's a whole team on the back end that's reinforcing this customer service experience that you guys have put in place, which is awesome.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's exactly right.
Well, cool, man. So we connected what was it? Probably a couple weeks, maybe a month ago.
Yeah, almost a month ago.
Started talking about the solar industry a little bit, and I came to you with a couple questions. Some being, hey, what are you guys doing when solar panels are in the way out there currently, and how are you handling that curveball? You know, it's a little bit new in the roofing industry, but you guys doing roofing for 5 years, you've probably been seeing it since 5 years ago when that boom was happening.
Yep.
More's getting thrown up every single day. Tell me about some of the pain points you've been having when solar's been in the way out there on the homes.
Yeah, so I mean, if we come onto a roof that has no solar, like, it's so much easier, right? There's just one less roadblock that gets in the way. Mm-hmm. When we come across a roof that has solar on it, I use the word roadblock, but it doesn't have to be a roadblock, right? But what we found is, as we were integrating with more roofs that had solar, one solar company would tell us one thing, another solar company would tell us something different, and it was like there was never a real right answer that we could land on. And that put us in a situation where we are the experts to the customer, and we're having to sift through what's right, what's not right in solar to even service the customer on the roof, which became a challenge for us.
Yeah, now you're getting thrown into this world of like, okay, you're really good at remodeling, you've been doing roofing a while, you're getting that thing dialed in, and then all of a sudden you have to learn about these different leasing companies out there, these solar companies who have gone out of business potentially, and then all the electrical components. Like, it's just a whole, there's so many different variables and directions. It's not just solar. It's a rabbit hole that you start going down when you start to try to figure it out. And so prior to us setting up meetings and starting to work with Solar Detach and Reset, would you say most of your customers maybe would go back with the original installer, or what was their experience like? And I guess when you would do jobs with solar on them, what were some of the pain points working actually through the project?
Sure. Before we got engaged with you and your team, again, it was kind of all over the map. And so we would call 3 or 4 different companies to try to get a bid. We're chasing the bid for the customer, and we're trying to help them service the roof the best that we can. Mm-hmm. And 9 times out of 10, we would hit a dead end, right? Whether the customer got engaged with their solar company or we got engaged as the middleman to try to help. And the dead end that we would run into is, that company's not in business anymore. They're gone. Or there were conversations around, well, don't touch it because it's going to void the warranty, or this person's not authorized to do stuff, or there was a lease in place, and it just created so much complexity. When somebody has an issue on their roof, they want to get it fixed. Mm-hmm. Like, we have monsoon season coming, and now is the time to get stuff situated before any rains come or microbursts or things like that. And so when we would run into roofs with solar, it would just elongate that process, and sometimes we would just hit dead ends, and it would cause frustration for the customer and for us, because we want to be able to take care of them to where we're not having to do an interior remodel because their roof leaked like crazy during monsoon season.
Yeah.
And so I guess to put it all in a nutshell, it was just frustrating. Mm-hmm. We would run into roadblock after roadblock with solar companies that couldn't service it. The leasing information was all goofy. It would void a warranty. Or they just didn't exist anymore.
Yeah. I love that you brought up monsoon season as we get ready for it. Do you think we're going to have one this year, first off? Can anyone predict that?
I'd be amiss if I said I hope we do. It's like, so I used to be a wildland firefighter when I was a kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Between 18 to 20, I was on a hotshot crew where we would fight fires.
Yeah.
They'd drop us off in some remote area, and we'd do wildland firefighting. And I remember the firefighters, sometimes they would pray for lightning strikes or for fires, because if you had a bad fire season, there was no work.
Yeah.
Right. Now that's kind of an interesting perspective. You never
Bad
want to wish
fire
for
season,
that.
meaning you
No
don't
fires.
have a lot of fires.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, do I think we're going to have a monsoon season this year? I don't know. Who can tell? Do I hope we do? Not for those that are put in a situation where it could potentially cause damage, but for our industry and the roofing industry, the reality is monsoons happen.
Yeah.
Rains happen, winds happen, and so the biggest thing for us is if we do have one, I just want to make sure everybody's prepared for it.
So it's right around the corner. What would you say to your customers out there that they could do to be proactive? Because if monsoon season does hit, what's going to happen to all the good roofers like TraVek?
We're going to be so busy that we're not even going to be able to keep up.
And now there's another storm coming. Can you help me? We're a couple weeks out because so what can we do now to be proactive with our customers to start getting them ready for the monsoon?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is most people, as they're thinking about their roof, right now it's hot and it's dry. The majority of people don't climb up on their own roof. They don't even know what's going on their own roof, nor should they, right? I mean, sometimes it's dangerous to get up there on a ladder and look around. What you can see from the street is very different than what you see when you're on the roof. And so we, our team, we do no cost inspections of the roof, consultations. I'd say the biggest thing to prepare is just call us and let us come out there and do the work for you. We're not going to charge you anything. But at the very least, we can see if there's slipped tiles or if the underlayment's damaged or if there's issues that are going to compound themselves when the rain and the wind does come. Like the biggest thing homeowners can do is just get ahead of it. Yeah. The time to do it is now as opposed to when it's pouring down rain and you're having leaks.
Yeah, because most customers, especially, we have a lot of people moving in from out of state, right? And tile roofs here, they're used to seeing shingle, right? And so they come here, there's this big concrete tile. And a lot of them make the faulty assumption that that's the end of it, right? They don't understand the components underneath.
Yep.
So what's the effect of maybe a slip tile, or maybe there was another solar company up there who broke a tile and didn't go back and repair it, or something like that? What can that one slip tile do? And talk about like the underlayment, how it fails and breaks down, and what's going on underneath the tile.
Yeah, that's a great question. Like education is key. And as a homeowner, you're right. A lot of people are moving from out of state. They're showing up. Even if they've lived here their whole life, they may not even know what a tile roof, the components are. And so, typically in a roof, your tile is just your very first layer of defense. Mm-hmm. It's going to try to keep some of the moisture out. But underneath that, what you alluded to is your underlayment. If your underlayment is bad, it doesn't matter what shape the rest of your roof in. If water gets in, you're going to experience a leak.
Yeah.
The underlayment is what really protects your roof from water getting into your home.
It's that final line of defense.
It's that final line of defense, and it probably does the majority of the stopping. 80% of the stopping is done by the underlayment. So, some people will look at the roofs and they'll think, oh, the tile looks perfect. It looks like it's in great shape. But if they have a slip tile, like what you're saying, or a cracked tile, or even the mortar balls are cracked on the ridge line, if water gets in there, they could have underlayment that's 15, 20 years old, that's brittle, that water's just going to pass straight through, and they would never know it because aesthetically, if they look at their tile, tile looks okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that, when I'm working with a roofing company or trying to work with a roofing company who maybe is letting their homeowner go with whatever solar company they want, or just saying, hey, you go figure it out, go find a solar contractor and then call me back. It's such a dice roll, because if that solar installer does not understand this component or respect the roof, they aren't going to care about broken mortar caps. Yeah. They aren't going to care about that one tile that's hairline fractured and no one maybe's going to notice it, and they leave it underneath the solar array. And it's already a shame enough when they go and they do that on a 10-year-old underlayment. Yeah. But to come back after a brand new roof and to not take care of the roof at the level that it should be taken care of, because even your QC guys, if they've got a big solar array that's 50 panels and there's a cracked tile in the middle of that array, they're not going to see it.
They're going to have a really hard time identifying it.
It's going to be it's depending on how the break is, it's going to be hard. So that's why it becomes so important, right, to start working with a solar contractor who you can trust, who values the roof, who's actually listening to roofing contractors about, hey, how do you want these mounts sealed up? You know, let's send you pictures of the roof before we set the panels down. I know one of the things our guys do is we have a roof inspection checklist we run on every job where we inspect mortar caps, we look for tile, we make sure all the mounts are sealed properly. We know that TraVek's QC guy is coming out next day, and we want to wow him with how we're leaving every single job. And I'm not going to say that we're perfect. If there is an issue, if there is something wrong, we're trying to catch it and be proactive to let you know, hey, a couple extra broken tile on this job, just so you know we have a plan in place. We're going to be out next Monday. We're going to get them all swapped because we know you might be at us out there. And down the road, if something happens, and let's say there is a leak on that customer's house and it made it past both of our quality control measures, I like to say that we are going to go handle it and fix it fast for that customer and move on. Whereas what I've seen happening, and one of the reasons why I got into this industry, is there was so much division between roofing and solar.
Yeah.
And it was always a finger pointing contest, and no one wanted to really work together. It seemed like they were almost, I don't want to say enemies, but here you have all these roofers who've been throwing up roofs for, since houses were being created. And then there's this new booming industry that comes in where we have all these electricians on roofs now who maybe don't fully understand the roofing process, and it almost created a little bit of bad blood out there.
Yeah.
But as we continue to develop and figure out how to better serve the customer, companies like yours that are getting on the front end of trying to figure that out and figure out how can we collaborate are going to set themselves apart from their competition drastically, in my opinion. You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, if I had a small confession to make, I don't think I shared this with you before.
Sure.
So I spent some time in my career in the door-to-door security sales industry. That industry got a horrible rap, right? There were some great companies out there and there were some really shady companies out there. I had the opportunity to work with some really great people, but there was a migration there where door-to-door security, almost everybody from that industry migrated to solar, right? And they started selling solar door-to-door. And so
it was an easy transition.
Super easy transition,
new script, here we go, you're already out there.
Yeah, and so, in my gut, I had a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth from my security days, knowing that a lot of those people migrated over to solar. So initially, even in my own head, I thought, oh man, this industry is just filthy.
Right.
And there's a lot of shadiness going on from sales to installation to removal and replace. And, so walking into it, I had this thought that, man, I don't even want to work with solar companies because I don't know what I'm going to get. And then I met you and I was like, man, this company is totally different. And so you talk about, a company that goes above and beyond and does the right things and works in a partnership with roofing companies to get ahead of issues. Like, these are the ethical right things to do that companies should be doing, but not everybody does it.
I wish we had come into it the correct way 20 years ago, 10, 15 years ago when solar started taking off. I think part of the problem was, I like to think it was just ignorance, where these guys that were handed the scripts and started selling solar didn't understand that an underlayment lasts 25 years here in the Valley on average. And so now we're putting solar up on 10, 15-year-old underlayments and never having the conversation with the customer about the ticking time bomb that's underneath that solar and the added cost that's going to come with Solar Detach and Reset. So now we get to start, and I think the consumer is now catching on, right? And they are, a lot of people I talk to are skeptical of solar, new solar. I get asked the question all the time because we don't install any new solar. Hey, Ty, do you think I should get it? Is it a good idea? And I ask a lot of customers that. And you'd be surprised how many say, I wouldn't do it again. Now, there's a good majority that had a lot of electrical savings. I had one customer a couple weeks ago. His solar had been paid off at year 7, and it was year 10 when it started to leak and he needed a detach reset. He had like 75 panels. He still needed to pay for a detach reset, and he paid me to put 10-year-old panels back on his new roof because he didn't start the new roof and the solar at the same time, meaning that they were now offset on half-lives, right? So really, if you are going to get solar out there, get a new roof from TraVek Roofing first, make sure that underlayment's good to go, then put the solar down, because the average lifespan of a panel is, guess how many years? 25. So let these things start together, let them die together, replace it when it's time to do a new roof. Then at least when you're doing a detach and reset, we're putting a newer high efficiency model panel on there, and we're not putting something that's going to start degrading rapidly, right?
Yeah, you're not throwing good money after bad, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and if you can structure that, and I would say the same thing, you know, a lot of our customers, if you're going to get a TraVek roof, like we need to talk about the solar panels and what we're replacing that with.
Yeah.
If we're going to remove them and replace them, let's make sure that the timing on that looks right.
Yeah, timing and communication. What do you guys use to shift gears a little bit for your underlayment product, and what do you like putting down on a tile roof?
Yeah, so I mean, something unique about us, we do a lot of different types of roofs. So it's not just tile for us.
Foam.
We do foam, flat roofs, we do tile, we do shingles, we even do some metal. And
Wow,
so
okay.
the types of product that you can use from an underlayment standpoint, like they're across the map. You know, we always use the highest quality product that we can in underlayment. We're always going to do multiple layers to make sure it's tight and it's down right. You know, you'll see some commercials of roofing companies where they're trying to tear the underlayment, and you know they're putting two of them together, and you know it looks a little cheesy, but it's a reality, right? So the type of underlayment that you choose with the roofing company that you work with can make or break your roof.
There's some bad products.
There's some bad products out there.
Yeah, and they're cheaper.
They are cheaper.
Let's go back to the two chuck and a truck for a second. How are they getting so cheap?
They're going to sell that stuff.
Yes.
You know, the other thing to really keep in mind is if you're thinking about a tile roof, it's not just the underlayment, but the battens that you use on your roof.
What's a batten?
So a batten is a piece of wood that sits on your roof that the tile then sits on top of. So the underlayment goes down first, then you've got battens on it.
Right.
Well, a lot of people, when they're doing this, they're using low quality battens, or the style that they're using is a style that's just flush and flat that sits flat on the roof. Well, if any water gets in there, now all of a sudden that creates a dam and the water just sits there on the battens resting on the underlayment.
And we have a dam about every 16 inches.
You nailed it.
And so think about your roof and how long it is. And you have small dam, small dam, small dam, every 16 inches coming down this roof. And so what's happening to the water?
Yeah, it just sits there, and water is sneaky. It's going to find a way to get in the underlayment if it's just resting there on your underlayment. So, I mean, it's one other small thing that I bring up, but underlayment's important. You know, if you're using baffled battens, so the water has somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Even better if you're using the battens with those little polyurethane discs that never deteriorate with pressure treated wood, to where it creates a channel for the water to run off, and the water's not just resting there on your underlayment. So there's so many different things that you can put into your roof to make it a roof that lasts a long time. Now, they're not cheap, but that goes back to having somebody who knows roofing that can walk you through, well, what's the risk and reward? Like, what are you willing to spend to make sure that your roof lasts X amount of years? And if budget is a concern, let's talk about financing, or if budget's a concern, let's talk about going with the middle of the road batten and underlayment system that's going to get you the next 20 years in the time that you're in the house, as opposed to, you know, maybe the absolute Taj Mahal option.
Right.
But whatever you do, don't go super cheap just because you want to use the most inexpensive product to get the cheapest price on your roof. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and the point is, you guys being who is going to walk you through all the options. So maybe you're planning on selling the home in 5 years and you don't care about elevated battens. But if this is your home and your investment, and you're going to raise your children here and you're going to be here long term, these elevated battens and these little details and these options, they cost a little bit more on the front end, but you're extending the lifespan of your roof ultimately. And so now it may seem more expensive up front, but there's going to be cost savings, because now instead of replacing your underlayment at year 25, it's making it 30, you know, it's making it 35, because we haven't had all these dams on the roof. And there's so many, we're using battens as an example, but I know you guys are running through tons of different options when it comes to little things like this and the details, and you're taking the time, you know, to explain these to the customer. How much time do your estimators usually spend on site, you know, when they're walking through something like this?
Yeah, so we'll go out there, and typically what a first appointment will look like for us, again, it's no cost, no pressure, right? So we'll go out there, and really the big thing is evaluating if somebody's experiencing a leak. Like, we want to identify that right away and understand if there's been damage into the house, what's going on. If it's just one of those situations where it's like, hey, come out, I think my roof's okay, take a look at it, let me know I'm okay, peace of mind sort of an appointment. Usually we'll spend anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour with them. And realistically, we can cover a lot of ground in that amount of time. If everything is perfect and everything looks great, we're going to spend 30 minutes out there and tell you, you know what, your roof looks awesome.
That's huge.
We're not going to try to hard sell somebody on a full roof when they don't need a full roof. You know, we will coach and we'll educate. If somebody's got a leak in one area, and it wasn't caused by winds or some sort of damage or whatever it may be, odds are they're going to start experiencing leaks in other areas in the roof. So we really want to make sure that we do a good enough job to understand, hey, you may be experiencing an issue here, but are you going to experience issues throughout the rest of your roof if we don't get ahead of it?
Yeah.
And so that's all part of it. That being said, we don't want to be a pest or be in the customer's home for longer than we need to be.
Sure.
But we are willing to spend as much time as they have available or want us to be there to walk them through the process and educate them.
No, I absolutely love it. Now, going into, you've been doing this 5 years on the roofing industry, 25 years on the remodeling industry. What do you think, for the roofing side of TraVek, you guys are wanting to grow it, wanting to expand it. Will you always stay in the state of Arizona, and do you service the whole state?
We do service the whole state. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And you never see yourself going outside of Arizona? Is this kind of home for you guys?
This is, we go back to our history. These are our roots, right? This is where TraVek started,
Yeah.
and this is where we plan on staying. There's enough work to be done here in Arizona for us to never really get stars in our eyes and want to go service the entire country. Now, if that opportunity comes about and we decide that's a great strategic move, sure, we're open to looking into that. But our focus right now is just servicing Arizona and the community that we're in. We've had such great relationships and response with the community members, and just really touching stories and experiences. Like for us, from a selfishly motivated standpoint, it's really nice to be in your own backyard and continue to have these recurring experiences with people in the area that you live in. So our focus is here.
Yeah, you guys, I know you can hear it and see it and here with Bjorn. The level of integrity that these guys have is off the charts. And so when they say that they are going to come evaluate your roof and actually tell you if you don't need a new roof, that's huge, because that's the minority out there. It's not the majority. Most roofers are the guy that's coming to walk you through the roofing process is working off commission, and they sometimes will say and do things and work the situation to try and get you to close that deal when you really don't even need it. So you want to make sure that you're starting with someone like TraVek that's got a super high level of integrity and is going to give you that honest feedback, that honest answer, and start to plan with you long term. You might not need a roof today, and they'll tell you that, but you will one day. And when the time comes, they're going to be the ones that you can go to ask the right questions and know that you're going to get the answers that you need. And so one of the things that I've been wowed about the most, aside from your awesome facility here,
thank you, by the way,
and your culture, is I can tell you guys are going to start really. You already are taking off, but I can see you guys moving in the right direction, and because you value the right things. And people more now today, when it comes to the service and the contracting and the construction industry, their guards are up, and they're looking for companies like yours, even if they cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see where you guys go within the next couple of years, and I'm so thankful that you've allowed us to come and serve you when solar's in the way, because not only do we get to grow together, but I get to learn stuff from companies like TraVek Roofing. We've only been around 4 years, and we're trying to create a company culture, and we're trying to do these things, and it's like, hold on, let me look up and take all of this in and put it up on my vision board, so that we can learn from each other. But I feel like you guys are not just serving your customers, but you're pulling us up too with you, and I'm so thankful to be able to work together and do some jobs together and have the same culture and the same customer service on both ends just get pushed out by your company and mine.
Yeah, and I mean, we really appreciate you saying that, because for us, it's a really important piece of who we are. When we think about our customers and we think about our employees and we think about our partners and the people that we decide to work with and do business with, like that piece of integrity and core values, it is so important for us. And we're only as successful as the people that we put in front of our customers as well. If I put a solar company in front of my customer and they completely damage the relationship, that's not only bad for me, but it's bad for the customer. And so we're really deliberate. I think we talked when we initially sat down, we talked about kind of what this journey looks like in the vetting process. And I could very easily have 100 solar companies that want to be partners with TraVek, and we just, it's a sheer numbers game. I have no desire to do that. Like my mission for the remainder of this year is to land on really strong partners, whether it's 10 or 15 strong partners in different industries, solar is one of them, that line up so tightly with our core values and integrity and our vision that it doesn't matter if you're in front of our customer or we're in front of your customer, they get that same experience. And you say you're grateful, but we're extremely grateful to have found you guys and have the relationship that we have, because we're excited about where we go.
Thank you so much for saying that. And where can the people find you, Bjorn? Where's your office? This is a new office, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And so, 'cause you guys used to be 3 sub offices.
Yeah.
Was it spread all throughout the valley, or were they close?
It was. 2 of them were close, and we had one up in Glendale. So
yeah, I saw an Instagram reel a couple months ago, and it was like a parade of TraVek trucks, one after another, going on the roof, making this move happen.
Yeah.
And now you're here close to the Scottsdale airport.
Yep.
And so it's all updated on Google. I checked and got here efficiently today.
Thank you.
So you need to find TraVek. They don't have their old offices in there. You guys need to come check this place out. Is it open to the public anytime? Can someone walk in?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the reasons why we put this whole showroom together is we were spread out. So we had 3 different offices. We decided to bring everything under one roof. And one thing that we've done with this new space, it's a beautiful new space. I mean, obviously being in the industry that we are, we had a leg up to be able to do some of that work and to provide a really beautiful space. And so you'll see gorgeous kitchens, you'll see gorgeous bathrooms, lighting fixtures. We've got training modules in our warehouse for both roofing and remodeling. You'll be able to see samples of roofing and what the materials look like. But it's open to the public. We want people to come and see our space. We also offer the community events that I alluded to. We do those once a month.
Do you have when's the next one? Can we talk about?
It's actually coming up next week.
Really?
So
what's it about?
June 11th.
Oh, awesome! June 11th. And what does that entail? Is it going to be here?
Yep, it's here at our showroom. So if you want to check out our office space, that's a great opportunity to check it out. And realistically, what it looks like is we bring food in, so we'll serve dinner for everybody. It's June 11th from 5:30 to 7:30. And we just invite members of the community. We put on a presentation to help people understand what they need to know before they walk into a remodeling journey or a roofing journey.
Yeah.
We understand it's frustrating and it's never perfect, and it can be the best experience you have or it can be the worst experience you have. And so whether people decide to use TraVek or somebody else, we want to share our wisdom that we've gained over the last 25 years with them. And so the series is called Before the Hammer Strikes, and it's everything you need to know before somebody lifts the hammer and comes into your home, whether it's on the roof or in the house. And so it's totally low pressure. It's members of the community. Usually we'll have 40 to 50 members of the community. We'll share a meal together. We'll share some information together, and you get a chance to see our showroom and do a tour. And
yeah, and it's so worth it, you guys. I'm not joking. You got to see this place. Where can let's say they can't make this event.
Yep.
Do you put this out on your social media? Do you put it on your website? Where do people go to learn more about TraVek?
Yeah, the answer is yes. We've got social media channels both for TraVek Roofing and TraVek Remodeling. You can also go to our website. It's www.travek.com. There's a link there to register for seminars or just to get information on before and after pictures, the services that we offer. We have these seminars every single month. So if you miss this one, there's another one next month, and you can jump on the website and register. If you are going to show up, we ask that you do register, just so we know how much food to provide. Whether we're going to see 20 people or 200 people, it's good for us to know those things.
I don't know if Chevy can hear me out there, but let's make sure we register for that, just to, alone for the free meal, if anything.
Hey, come eat with
spend
us.
Some more time
We'd
with
love that.
Yeah, we'd love to hang out with you guys some more. Well, thank you so much for meeting us today here and doing. I guess I'm meeting here at your. This is, by the way, we're shooting this podcast in TraVek's new podcast room, breaking it in the first time here. It's a beautiful. They got soundproof walls. They got awesome mics, awesome cameras, awesome lights set up. Because now they can really take everything they're saying and not just do it once a month at meetings. They can come here and start putting some content together for you guys and pushing it out on a regular basis. So they're becoming the leaders in the industry when it comes to educating customers and making sure that you're making the right decisions and you have everything you need when you're making these large purchases that involve your home.
Yeah.
So thank you again so much for taking the time to meet Bjorn, and I'm looking forward to the next time we get to do this.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for being here, and really appreciate you coming to our space and giving us the opportunity to share a little bit about ourselves.
Awesome. Thank you. Once again, Ty the Solar Guy with your Bridge the Gap podcast, where we bridge the gap between the roofing and the solar and roofing industry. Let's go.